DMC 33, The DadMan Chronicles, episode 33. Thanks for coming to hang out with me. Today I'm talking about finding love. Finding love specifically for most of you, at least I would imagine, most of you in my age bracket. Finding love after divorce. What that looks like, how that feels, how that works. Maybe you've been burned. Maybe you've been stuck in the hell that is all of the apps. All I can do is share with you my experience with that sort of thing and what that has led me to believe. One thing I remember when I was going through my separation, when I was separated from my previous wife, and I had been traveling. I had taken a big trip with my kids in the summer. We go back to the East Coast, go to the beach every year. And at the end of that trip, I remember as I was packing my bag and everything, actually feeling afraid. Like afraid to go home, afraid to start the trip home. And I really was like, took some time to kind of unpack that and give it some real thought of like, why would I feel afraid? It's one thing to feel sad, to feel anxious. Okay, but why afraid? And what I realized was that there wasn't anyone on the other end of that trip that was waiting for me to get home. There wasn't anyone that if a flight got delayed or something got screwed up, there wasn't anyone that I was going to call or text and be like, hey, here's what's going on, we're still on our way, we're still trying to figure it out. There wasn't anyone waiting for me. And it was kind of that realization being sort of punched in the face with that sort of gut feeling, that gut level feeling that, is just me. It's just me and my children. And no one's going to give a shit if my plane goes down. Not that there wouldn't be people to care, but no one is completely invested in my well-being, in my getting home, in my, in whether I even get there at all. And so kind of coming to that realization of like, oh, this is about being alone. I am afraid of that feeling, or the fear is actually stemming from the fear of being alone. Now, I will say over time, I got to be very, very comfortable in a, relatively short period of time. I got to be really comfortable with being a single dad, kind of being on my own, doing life by myself. And it actually became really fun. And I had some incredible realizations of just like, I have handed over so much of my opinion, so much of my perspective, so much of my taste, so much of how I live my life I had handed over to my ex-wife, which is not on her. Let me be clear. She didn't browbeat me. I wasn't henpecked. But just over 20 years of marriage, I had sort of allowed decisions of, of taste and style and design and everything, some aspects of our life that I had allowed to sort of just gently transition to being her thing, not mine. And to then, make it all my thing was actually really kind of fun, and to live my life on my terms, not feel like there was someone else I had to, get the approval of, if you will, or not even approval. That's not right. Because again, it wasn't like controlling or anything. There was nothing. I don't want you to have that impression of the relationship I had with my ex-wife. But just over 20 something years, you get accustomed to allowing this to be an us thing and not necessarily a me thing. So all that to say, then when I was home for a while, and kind of settling into like, okay, that feeling of like, actually, this is kind of fun doing this on my own, or having the freedom to do things my way without feeling obligated to consult someone else. Pretty cool. But now my wife now, she and I have been married for 4 years. So next year is going to be our 5-year anniversary, which is really cool because it really only feels like we've been married for like a year. I swear it doesn't feel like it was that long ago. And I started thinking about like, man, I am so incredibly lucky, so incredibly fortunate. And I'm so very thankful that my wife came into my life and that I wasn't afraid to try again. I wasn't of course there are fears come with you after divorce and all that stuff. But I didn't let that fear stop me, let's put it that way. Or I didn't let my concerns or I didn't let my experience with my ex-wife stop me from opening myself up and being available emotionally to my now current wife. And I hate, by the way, I've said this before, I hate the phrase like my current wife. She is my wife. This is the woman that I am. She's not like one in a list. She is the woman that I plan on spending the rest of my life with, very joyously and happily. But I will use the term my current wife just to help differentiate who I'm talking about as I go through this. But she is amazing. I'm just going to say it that way. I've been so incredibly fortunate to have a partner in my life that is just an amazing person, and we are on the same level with what we want for our children and how we parent and the life we live and our level of living, and on where we connect on finances. We don't agree on everything. We have some disagreements on politics, that kind of stuff. We have some other disagreements too, but they're, all typical like household sort of things, normal day-to-day stuff. But big stuff like politics that we don't always agree on. But on a lot of stuff we really, really do. And to have a person who expresses to me, how do I put this? To have a partner in my life that makes it so clear to me that she appreciates me and that she respects what I bring to our relationship. And, because she also comes from a divorce and comes from a long marriage that was a not great marriage. The fact that I now have a partner who openly makes me feel appreciated, makes me feel seen, and respects what I bring to our marriage and respects what I bring to our parenting of our kids. My God, that's an incredible feeling. And then you put on top of that the feeling of like, when I travel, if I'm traveling by myself, I have a partner in this life. I have someone who has my back. If something goes wrong, I know she cares, and I know she's watching out for me, and she knows that I feel that I am there for her. So if you're in that situation now where you're now divorced, you don't have a significant partner in your life. Maybe you're on the apps, all the dating apps and stuff. Maybe not. Maybe however you're sort of exploring this area of your life, if you are, maybe you're just like, screw it. I'm not touching dating with a 10-foot pole. Not for a while. I have a friend who, he took several years. He's been going to therapy and unpacking his stuff and unpacking the trauma and the emotional weight and the emotional baggage from his marriage. He spent, a couple of years just getting a handle on himself. And I think it was incredibly a brave thing to do, to be very clear and to acknowledge, like, no, I really don't want to be with someone right now. I need to understand myself better before I need to understand myself better, and I need to understand what I went through, and I need to process all that stuff before I go dive into a relationship with someone else. And now he's a few years down the road. He's unpacked a lot of his stuff. He understands himself better. He understands his past better. He understands his previous marriage better. And he's dating someone who is really an incredible person that he found through a dating app. Crazy enough. Will it last? Will it work forever? I don't know. None of us do. But the two of them, they are both very happy to have found each other when they are ready for that in their lives. So I won't presume to give you advice, because your situation, your past, your experiences, your emotional landscape, your baggage, whatever you carry from your divorce is entirely, only you know what that is like. So you will find your path in your time. But I will say, for me to have found someone, and I of course the question then would be, well, then Charlie, how did you meet your wife? And I got incredibly lucky. I should say we got incredibly lucky. We have a shared friend who introduced us, who we trust. Our friend's judgment of character is really on point. So we both felt like we were able to trust the other person a bit more kind of right off the bat, because we had a shared friend who wouldn't be friends with us if we weren't good people, if that makes sense. So that helped. I mean, that accelerated the process a little bit. But if you're trying to find, if you're trying to draw the person the amazing, incredible partner that you want to share your life with, then become the kind of person that person would be attracted to. I was incredibly fortunate that I was already involved in things like community theater. I was involved in business stuff, involved in cultural stuff in my town. And it was because, and involved in gyms, like a member of a gym and all that stuff, because I had this friend who I'd met through my gym membership prior to my divorce. But it was because I had that connection that she was able to introduce me to her other friend, and we connected. And, as I said, that simplified the process. Thankfully, I never had to dive into the dating apps. But that would be my recommendation. If you're thinking to yourself, well, give me some advice, man. Like, how do I meet that person? I can't say if for certain in any direction how you meet that person, where you meet that person. But what I can say is work on making yourself the kind of person that would attract the kind of person you want to be with. Someone who is capable and competent and funny, and whatever your criteria are, make yourself the kind of person that attracts that sort of person. How do you do that? Get involved. I mean, you're not going to make yourself a better person by sitting on your couch and watching Bridgerton on repeat or something. Maybe it's not Bridgerton. Maybe you're more of a, who knows? Maybe you're more of a The Pit kind of person. But you're not going to become this next amazing person that you have all the potential to be, by the way, unless you get out there and push yourself out of your comfort zone. Get involved. I don't know, go take an improv comedy class. Go to a workshop. Go join a yoga studio, even if you've never done yoga. Like, put yourself into new situations. Meet new people. Force yourself to do things that make you a better person. And maybe, in the process of that, you will meet someone who who kind of sets that spark again. And maybe you'll be the spark for someone else. So I guess that's all I have to share with you. It's not profound life advice. It's more just perspective from where I am in this process. And I am incredibly lucky and incredibly grateful for the woman that I now get to share my life with and her children. We are now an amazing family. I mean, the kid thing, integrating, blending families is a whole nother video that would be probably 4 hours long, because it's a slow and very gradual process. But we are now in an incredible place as a family. My children, her children, we don't look at them in those terms. Like, it's our children. And our children have found these relationships, these friendships and these relationships with each other that are just extraordinary. So we're incredibly lucky. And we're incredibly thankful for how it has worked out. And maybe, just maybe, that will work for you as well at some point. So, all right. Thanks for hanging out. More to come. We'll talk soon.